What happens when cricket's most naturally gifted player suddenly abandons everything at the height of his powers? This is the extraordinary tale of Connie Hooper, a West Indian legend whose mysterious disappearance from international cricket left fans worldwide speechless. Today, we uncover the real reasons behind his shocking exit, his remarkable return, and the inspiring life he built beyond the boundary. Before we dive into this incredible story, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. We explore cricket's most captivating personalities every week, and Connie Hooper's journey will completely transform your understanding of what it means to be a true champion. In the sweltering heat of Georgetown, Guyana, where cricket dreams are born on every street corner, a young boy named Connie Hooper was quietly rewriting the rules of natural talent. Born on December 15, 1966, into a modest family in the heart of the Caribbean's cricket capital, Hooper possessed something that couldn't be taught, an instinctive understanding of cricket that seemed almost supernatural. The dusty streets of Georgetown served as his first cricket academy. While other children struggled with basic techniques, young Carl displayed an uncanny ability to read the game's subtleties. His father, a local cricket enthusiast, first noticed something extraordinary when 5-year-old Carl began mimicking the batting stances of West Indies legends he'd seen on their black and white television set. Local cricket enthusiasts still speak in hushed tones about the teenager who could make seasoned bowlers look amateur with effortless strokes that defied physics. His movements were poetry in motion, each shot executed with a timing so perfect it appeared choreographed. When Carl held the cricket bat, time itself seemed to bend to his will. The sound of leather on willow took on a different quality when he was batting, cleaner, more musical, almost symphonic. What set Hooper apart wasn't just his batting prowess. Even as a youngster, his off-spin bowling displayed variations that confused players twice his age. He could make the ball talk, coaxing it to turn sharply or slide straight through with subtle changes in grip and wrist position. Watching him bowl was like observing a magician at work, the same action producing completely different results. By age 16, Hooper had already outgrown Guyanese cricket. Stories spread throughout the Caribbean about this mysterious young talent who could bat like an artist and bowl with the cunning of a chess master. Cricket scouts from across the region flocked to Georgetown, each hoping to witness firsthand what many were calling a once-in-a-generation phenomenon. Local newspapers began featuring articles about the boy wonder from Georgetown, who was single-handedly revolutionizing how cricket was perceived in Guyana. His domestic debut for Guyana at 18 was nothing short of spectacular. In his first match, he scored an unbeaten century and took 5 wickets, a performance that immediately caught the attention of West Indies selectors. Senior players who had dominated Caribbean cricket for years suddenly found themselves seeking advice from a teenager who seemed to understand the game's mysteries intuitively. The West Indies selectors, recognizing they had discovered something special, fast-tracked Hooper into the national setup. The decision wasn't taken lightly. The West Indies team of the 1980s was arguably the greatest cricket team ever assembled, and earning a place required exceptional talent and mental fortitude. In February 1987, at just 20 years old, he made his international debut against New Zealand in a one-day international. The cricket world held its breath as this unknown quantity from Guyana stepped onto the world stage. His first few deliveries revealed immediately why selectors had shown such faith. His technique was flawless, his temperament unshakable. Former West Indies wicketkeeper Jeff Dujon remembers, the moment Carl walked to the crease, you could sense something different. He had this aura, this presence that made even experienced bowlers second-guess themselves. It was like watching cricket being played by someone who understood secrets the rest of us were still learning. Even Viv Richards, who rarely praised young players openly, pulled me aside after Carl's first net session and said, "This boy is special." The late 1980s and early 1990s marked Hooper's ascension to cricket royalty. Playing alongside icons like Viv Richards, Richie Richardson, and Courtney Walsh, he seamlessly integrated into a team culture built on excellence and Caribbean flair. Yet even among these legends, Hooper stood apart like a classical musician in a rock band, technically superior, stylistically unique, and somehow timeless. His test debut against India in Mumbai in 1987 provided the first glimpse of what the cricket world could expect. While his first innings yielded modest returns, the manner of his batting left observers breathless. Each stroke was executed with such precision that seasoned cricket writers struggled to find adequate descriptors. Watching Hooper bat is like watching a master craftsman at work, wrote renowned cricket journalist John Arlott. His batting technique was a masterclass in controlled aggression. Where others relied on power, Hooper used precision. Where teammates played with Caribbean flair and explosive timing, he brought a different dimension. Cricket intelligence married to natural ability. His cover drives were strokes of genius, executed with such perfect timing that fielders often didn't bother chasing the ball. His pull shots were examples of perfect balance and weight transfer, making even the fastest bowlers look ordinary. Opposing captains would spend hours developing strategies specifically to contain him, often unsuccessfully. England's David Gower, himself a stylish batsman, admitted years later, planning against Karl was like trying to cage the wind. You could set all the fields you wanted, but he'd find gaps that didn't seem to exist when other batsmen were at the crease. As an off-spinner, Hooper possessed variations that bewildered even the most accomplished batsmen. His stock delivery would grip and turn sharply, but he could also roll his fingers over the ball to create a delivery that would skid straight through. His arm ball was virtually undetectable, and his top spinner would bounce higher than batsmen expected. Former Australian captain Alan Border called him the most thinking bowler I faced. He was always 3 balls ahead of you mentally. His deliveries would dance off the pitch with unpredictable spin, leading many to describe facing him as solving a puzzle while blindfolded. Australian batting legend Steve Waugh once admitted, "Karl made you think about every ball. He had this ability to plant doubt in your mind before he even released the ball. You'd find yourself second-guessing your technique and game plan just by watching him warm up." The statistics from this golden period tell a compelling story. Test centuries against Australia, England, and India showcased his ability to perform on the biggest stages against the world's best bowlers. His maiden Test century, a magnificent 134 against England at Georgetown in 1990, was described by Wisden as an exhibition of batting artistry rarely seen at international level. His fielding, particularly at slip, became legendary. Catches that seemed impossible were routine for Hooper's safe hands. His reflexes were cat-like, his anticipation uncanny. He possessed a rare ability to pluck catches from thin air, often making spectacular saves look effortless. Former teammate Curtly Ambrose once joked, "I used to bowl faster knowing Karl was behind me. If the batsman nicked it, I knew it would stick." But perhaps most remarkably, Hooper achieved all this while maintaining an almost zen-like calm. In an era when cricket was becoming increasingly aggressive, with heated confrontations between players becoming commonplace, he remained an island of serenity. Former England captain Mike Atherton observed, "Karl played cricket like he was meditation in motion. Nothing seemed to fluster him, nothing appeared to disturb his inner peace. While others around him were getting wound up by pressure situations, he'd be standing there looking like he was enjoying a casual game in the park." By the mid-1990s, Karl Hooper had evolved into cricket's most complete all-rounder. His batting average hovered consistently above 40, his bowling provided crucial breakthroughs, and his fielding remained simply exceptional. More importantly, he had become the backbone of a West Indies team transitioning from its golden era to a new generation. The 1993-94 Tour of India proved to be Hooper's masterpiece. His magnificent 233 in Guyana wasn't just a double century, it was a batting exhibition that left Indian bowlers and spectators in awe. For nearly 10 hours, he dominated the crease with an innings that combined technical perfection with creative shot-making. The scorebook showed 23 boundaries and 2 sixes, but numbers couldn't capture the artistry involved. International cricket captains queued up to praise his abilities. South Africa's Kepler Wessels called him the most dangerous batsman to bowl to because he makes the impossible look routine. Pakistan's Wasim Akram, one of cricket's greatest fast bowlers, admitted, "Planning against Karl was like preparing for the unpredictable. Just when you thought you had him figured out, he produced something magical." Hooper, despite his achievements, seemed increasingly detached from cricket's relentless demands. Team meetings would find him gazing into the distance, his mind apparently elsewhere. Coaches worried about his focus. Teammates questioned his commitment. What nobody understood at the time was that Hooper was experiencing something few professional athletes admit to: complete emotional exhaustion. The constant travel, perpetual pressure, and endless scrutiny were slowly draining the joy from a game he had once loved unconditionally. November 1999 will forever be remembered as the day cricket lost one of its greatest talents. Without warning, without explanation, Karl Hooper announced his immediate retirement from international cricket. At 32, with potentially 5 more years at the top level, he simply walked away. The cricket world reacted with bewilderment and anger. Fans felt betrayed, teammates felt abandoned, and cricket administrators felt blindsided. How could someone at their absolute peak simply quit? Conspiracy theories flourished, hidden injuries, financial problems, personality conflicts. But the truth was simultaneously simpler and more complex. Hooper had fallen deeply in love with Shivani, an Australian professional who saw him not as a cricket celebrity but as a person seeking genuine connection. For someone who had lived his entire adult life defined by cricket achievements, meeting someone who valued him for entirely different reasons was transformative. "Cricket had consumed my identity completely," Hooper would later explain in a rare candid interview. "I was Karl Hooper the cricketer 24 hours a day. With Shivani, I discovered Karl the human being. That discovery was more valuable than any cricket trophy." The decision to relocate to Adelaide represented the ultimate act of courage, choosing love and personal fulfillment over fame and financial security. In an era when athletes rarely walked away from lucrative careers voluntarily, Hooper's choice seemed incomprehensible to many. Cricket Australia's coaching staff, having witnessed his decision decision firsthand, gained new respect for a man willing to sacrifice everything for authentic happiness. Adelaide became Hooper's sanctuary, a place where anonymity allowed him to rediscover life's simple pleasures. For someone who had spent 15 years being recognized everywhere he went, the ability to walk down a street without being stopped for autographs felt revolutionary. Grocery shopping, cooking dinner, weekend drives, activities that seemed mundane to others felt like luxurious freedoms to someone who had spent 15 years living out of hotel rooms and team buses. The transition wasn't without challenges. Hooper later described the first few months as strangely disorienting. He would wake up expecting team meetings or practice sessions, only to realize he had nowhere to be. "I had to learn how to fill my days with meaning that didn't involve cricket," he reflected. It sounds simple, but when cricket has been your entire identity for so long, finding yourself again is actually quite difficult. Shivani's influence proved transformative in ways that extended far beyond their romantic relationship. Her successful career in financial consulting demonstrated that professional achievement didn't require constant public attention or validation from strangers. She helped Hooper understand that self-worth could exist independently of sporting performance, a lesson that proved invaluable for his mental health and long-term happiness. Her approach to life was refreshingly different from the cricket world's intensity. Shivani brought perspective and balance. She encouraged Hooper to explore interests he never had time to pursue: reading literature, learning to cook, understanding wine, appreciating art. Their courtship unfolded away from media scrutiny, allowing them to build a relationship based on genuine connection rather than public perception. Shivani would later recall, "I fell in love with Carl the person, not Carl the cricketer. The cricket world only saw his composed exterior, but I got to know the gentle soul underneath." Their marriage ceremony, conducted privately in a small Adelaide chapel with just immediate family present, symbolized Hooper's new priorities. The man who had once performed before thousands now cherished intimate moments shared with someone who truly understood him. Wedding photos show a relaxed, genuinely happy Hooper, a far cry from the sometimes distant figure captured in cricket photographs. Friends commented on how different he seemed, how the tension that had always lingered around his eyes had finally disappeared. Fatherhood changed everything in ways Hooper never anticipated. The birth of Carl Jr. awakened protective instincts and paternal joy that cricket had never provided. Holding his son for the first time, Hooper experienced an emotional depth that surprised him. All those centuries and 5-wicket hauls suddenly seemed insignificant compared to this tiny person who depended on me completely, he would later say. Later, daughter Melissa's arrival completed their family unit. Former teammates visiting Adelaide were amazed to see the once reserved professional transformed into a devoted father who spent hours playing games, reading stories, and attending school events. Pictures from this period show Hooper in ways cricket fans had never seen: relaxed, playful, completely present in the moment. "Becoming a dad gave my life a purpose that cricket couldn't match," Hooper reflected years later. "Every run I scored was for personal achievement. Every wicket was about beating the opposition. But every moment with my children is about building their future, about giving them the foundation they need to become good human beings. That responsibility is both humbling and incredibly fulfilling." Sunday morning pancakes, bedtime story sessions, weekend trips to Adelaide's beautiful beaches, these simple rituals provided the stability and normalcy that Hooper had craved throughout his cricket career. Cricket, however, has a magnetic pull that few can resist permanently. In 2001, the West Indies Cricket Board faced a crisis. The team was struggling, lacking experienced leadership and direction. Desperate times called for desperate measures, and they turned to the one man who might be able to help: Carl Hooper. The phone call that changed everything came on a quiet Sunday afternoon in Adelaide. West Indies cricket needed him not just as a player but as captain, someone who could guide a young team through turbulent times. The decision wasn't made lightly. Long family discussions followed, weighing cricket's demands against their established domestic happiness. Eventually, with Shivani's complete support, they reached a compromise that prioritized family while allowing Hooper to answer cricket's call. "I couldn't have returned without Shivani's blessing," Hooper explained. "She understood that I had unfinished business with cricket, that perhaps this was the closure I needed." His comeback proved sensational. The first series back against South Africa saw Hooper score a century and take crucial wickets, demonstrating that 18 months away hadn't diminished his skills. More significantly, his captaincy brought stability to a team that had been lacking direction. Young players thrived under his guidance. His calm authority and willingness to share knowledge created an environment where talent could flourish. The statistics from this period are remarkable: a test average exceeding 45, crucial victories against top opposition, and respect earned from cricket communities worldwide. The 2003 World Cup in South Africa represented Hooper's cricket swan song. Though the West Indies didn't achieve their ultimate goal, his dignified leadership throughout the tournament earned universal admiration. At 36, his body was telling him that this second career phase was reaching its natural conclusion. This retirement, unlike his first, came with proper recognition. A testimonial match in Georgetown allowed fans to properly bid farewell to their hero. The contrast with his 1999 departure couldn't have been starker. This time, he left to standing ovations and with his legacy secure. Most importantly, he retired without regrets, having given West Indies cricket everything he had left to offer while maintaining the family balance that had become central to his happiness. Today, at 58, Carl Hooper has achieved something many athletes struggle with: a successful post-career life that honors his sporting past while embracing new challenges. His coaching work, particularly with young Guyanese players, has produced several future West Indies stars who credit him with transforming not just their technique but their understanding of cricket's mental aspects. The transition to coaching began naturally during his time in Australia. Local cricket clubs discovered that the quiet gentleman who occasionally appeared at their grounds was actually a former West Indies captain. Soon, young players were seeking his guidance, drawn by his reputation for patience and wisdom. Unlike many former stars who coached with ego, Hooper approached mentoring with genuine humility. Carl never made it about himself, recalls James Peterson, a young Australian player who benefited from Hooper's guidance. He would watch you play, identify exactly what needed improvement, and then spend hours helping you understand not just the technical fix but why it would make you a better player. He taught me to think cricket, not just play it. His coaching philosophy reflects his playing style: intelligent, methodical, and focused on long-term development rather than quick fixes. The Carl Hooper Foundation, established in 2007, provides cricket equipment and educational scholarships to underprivileged children across the Caribbean. What began as a small initiative has grown into a comprehensive program that has touched hundreds of young lives. His hands-on approach to philanthropy sets him apart from celebrity foundations that exist mainly for tax benefits. Hooper personally visits schools, runs coaching clinics, and maintains relationships with scholarship recipients. Carl understood that cricket was just a vehicle, explains Maria Rodriguez, the foundation's director. His real goal was always about giving kids opportunities to build better lives. The cricket scholarships require maintained grades, the coaching clinics emphasize character development, and the equipment donations come with mentorship programs. His family life continues to flourish in ways that validate his decision to prioritize personal relationships over pure career advancement. Carl Jr., now 23, chose to pursue sports medicine rather than professional cricket, a decision that pleased his father enormously. "I'm proud that he chose his own path," Hooper says. "He could have traded on my name to get cricket opportunities, but he wanted to earn his own success." Melissa, 21, has launched a sustainable fashion business while completing her business degree, showing entrepreneurial spirit that reflects her parents' values of independence and self-reliance. The family's decision to split time between Adelaide and Georgetown has created a unique transcontinental lifestyle that works because it's built on mutual respect and shared values. 3 months each year in Guyana allowed the children to maintain connections with their Caribbean heritage while their primary education and social development happen in Australia's more anonymous environment. These annual visits to Georgetown have become community celebrations, with local cricket clubs and schools organizing events around Hooper's presence. Yet he manages these commitments without allowing them to overshadow family time, a balance that reflects lessons learned during his playing career. "I made mistakes when I was younger, putting cricket before everything else," Hooper acknowledges. "Now I try to give back to cricket and my community, but never at the expense of my family responsibilities. That balance is something I wish I'd understood earlier in my career." Carl Hooper's true legacy transcends cricket statistics. He demonstrated that athletes can prioritize mental health and family without compromising their professional integrity. His decision to step away at his peak, once seen as controversial, is now recognized as pioneering in discussions about athlete welfare. For West Indies cricket, he represents a bridge between generations, someone who maintained Caribbean flair while adopting international professionalism. Current stars like Jason Holder cite him as an influence, not just technically but in terms of approach and character. Perhaps most significantly, Hooper showed that a cricket career can be part of a well-lived life rather than its entirety. He proved that walking away can be as courageous as playing on, and that second chances, when embraced with wisdom, can yield rewards beyond sporting glory. From Georgetown's dusty streets to cricket's grandest stages, from shocking retirement to triumphant return, from international stardom to family fulfillment, Carl Hooper's journey defies conventional sporting narratives. His story challenges us to reconsider success, not just in sports, but in life. In a world obsessed with single-minded ambition, Hooper dared to seek balance. In doing so, he found something more valuable than cricket trophies. He found peace. For cricket fans who appreciate the human stories behind sporting achievements, Carl Hooper's tale reminds us that the greatest victories often happen away from the scoreboard. They occur when someone finds the courage to follow their heart, regardless of external expectations. If this story resonated with you, subscribe to our channel for more more in-depth cricket documentaries. Share your favorite Carl Hooper memories in the comments below. And remember, the best sporting stories are always about more than just sport. They're about courage, growth, and the ongoing quest to live an authentic life. Until next time, keep celebrating the human spirit that makes cricket and sport itself truly magnificent.